He went to command first. The door resisted at first, then gave way to a chamber lined with dead consoles and a single intact central terminal. Dust coated the floor, but there were no signs of looting. The council had never been here. He powered up the terminal. It flickered weakly, then bloomed to life, projecting a holographic seal into the air, the insignia of the United Earth Defense Network. He hadn't seen it in decades. Authorization required, a voice said. Female, artificial, comm. Daniel keyed in the last code sequence from the stolen data core. The hologram pulsed once. Then the voice spoke again. Welcome back, Commander Ross. For a moment, Daniel just stood there. He hadn't heard his real name spoken by a human voice since the war. The terminal interface unfolded before him. Lines of human code and archived data streaming past. Military records, ship designs, tactical reports, and deeper still, weapons projects that had never left prototype phase. One caught his eye immediately. Project Helios. The files described a weaponized solar manipulation array. Something that could destabilize a star's outer layers, triggering massive flares capable of incinerating everything in a system. It wasn't just a fleet killer, it was a civilization killer, and Athena Station had the full design. Footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. Daniel's hand went to his boot knife before he realized he recognized the cadence. The cloaked alien stepped into the doorway. You found something, the alien said. Daniel didn't answer. He just turned the terminal so the alien could see the project. Helios schematics rotating in the holographic display. The alien studied it in silence. That would end the council in one strike. The alien finally said. Daniel's voice was steady, but there was a hard edge under it. This is more than revenge. This is leverage. With this, we don't have to fight them planet by planet. We can make them too afraid to ever come for humans again. The alien's gaze flicked to him. Or you become the monster they always said you were. Daniel stepped closer, meeting his eyes. They made me, remember. The alien didn't argue. For the next hour, they worked in silence, transferring the most critical files to encrypted drives, the weapon schematics, ship upgrade plans, the full list of council outpost locations. Every piece of intelligence that could give humanity what was left of it a fighting chance. When they were done, Daniel powered down the terminal and sealed the command chamber. As they headed back toward the hangar, the alien finally spoke. What's your plan now? Daniel didn't hesitate. We take this to what's left of our people. We rebuild. And when the council comes looking, and they will, we show them we can erase them from the stars. The alien's scarred mouth twitched. Then I hope your people are ready to follow a commander again. Daniel didn't look back at him. They won't have a choice. When the craft lifted off from Athena Station, the cloaking field shimmered shut behind them, hiding the asteroid once more in the endless dark. Daniel set a course away from the patrol network toward the scattered systems, where human survivors were rumored to hide. The drives containing the Helios plans sat in the compartment beside him. Every time his eyes drifted to them, he felt the same cold certainty. The war wasn't over. It had just been waiting. The journey from Athena Station to the outer fringe took 6 days. 6 days of running silent, weaving through debris fields, cutting power when long-range patrol sweeps passed too close. The craft's life support ran lean to keep its signature small. Every breath felt like it came at the cost of another minute of safety. The alien didn't talk much. He spent most of the trip in the craft's rear compartment, patching his cloak and working on a portable field scrambler. Daniel didn't ask what it was for. Trust between them was functional, not personal. They needed each other, nothing more. When the fringe finally appeared on the navigation display, it wasn't a neat, welcoming world. It was a graveyard of rock and ice orbiting a dying star. Tucked into one of the asteroid shadows was the human outpost, a cluster of patched ships welded into the side of a crater, hidden from most scanners. Daniel keyed the communications into an old frequency. This is Ross, he said, letting his voice drop into the tone he hadn't used in years, the one that carried command. I'm coming in. The outpost dock was cramped, the air thick with the smell of engine grease and recycled oxygen. Armed men and women waited for him, most in scavenged armor, all watching with suspicion that only deepened. When the cloaked alien stepped off the craft behind him, a tall, broad-shouldered man pushed through the crowd. His beard was streaked with gray, but his posture was pure military. Ross, his voice was flat, but there was something under it, disbelief, maybe even relief. You're supposed to be dead. Daniel set the satchel down on the nearest crate. We're all supposed to be dead. The man's eyes flicked to the alien, then back to Daniel. And you brought an ally. The only reason I have this, Daniel said. He unzipped the satchel and pulled out the encrypted drives, setting them on the crate one by one. The crowd shifted, curiosity edging out suspicion. What is it? Someone asked. Daniel looked at the bearded man. The end of the council. Or the end of us, if we don't use it right. The meeting hall was just an old cargo bay repurposed with tables and mismatched chairs, but it felt like a war room. The leaders of the outpost, military veterans, engineers, even a few ex-civilians who'd clawed their way into command roles, sat in a loose circle. With the drives laid out in the middle. Daniel explained what they contained: ship schematics, outpost coordinates, and finally Project Helios. By the time he finished, the room was silent. One of the engineers, a thin woman with burn scars across her hands, leaned forward. If this is real, we'd have the ability to destroy any system we wanted. Entire fleets wouldn't matter. It's real, Daniel said, and we're not going to waste it on small targets. We make one strike big enough to make the council afraid to breathe near our territory again. The bearded man frowned. You're talking about genocide. I'm talking about survival. Daniel shot back. If they think there's a chance we can wipe them out, they'll stop hunting us. Fear is the only language they understand. The room was divided. Half of them looked ready to follow him to war. The other half looked like they were staring at the beginnings of a nightmare. The debate was cut short by the sound of the outpost proximity alarms. Daniel was on his feet instantly, crossing to the wall console. A scan showed 3 ships on approach, small, fast, and flying council transponders. The bearded man swore. They found us. Daniel's mind went to work in seconds. The council wouldn't send small ships unless they thought they could take the outpost cleanly. That meant this wasn't a random sweep. This was a targeted hunt, and that meant someone had talked. In the hangar, crews scrambled to power up the outpost's defensive guns, little more than salvaged ship cannons, bolted into the rock, but better than nothing. Daniel's eyes scanned the crowd, looking for the weak link. The cloaked alien appeared at his side. They know who you are, he said quietly. Daniel turned his head sharply. What? I intercepted a transmission before we docked. They've identified you as the infiltrator. They know about Athena Station. Daniel's jaw tightened. Then we can't let them leave. The first council ship breached the perimeter a minute later. Guns lighting up the darkness. The outpost cannons answered, their impacts shattering across the council ship shields. The battle was brutal and close. No room for retreat. Daniel grabbed a rifle from a nearby rack and moved to the lower gun deck, picking off boarding troops. As they tried to cut into the outpost outer hull, the alien fought beside him, his cloak flickering as he darted between cover, dropping soldiers with precise shots. The council troops were disciplined, but they weren't prepared for the kind of desperate resistance humans could mount when cornered. By the time the last of them broke and ran for their shuttles, the hangar floor was slick with blood, and the air reeked of scorched metal. 2 of the 3 council ships were gone, destroyed in the fight. The third limped away on a damaged drive, bleeding air from a ruptured hull. Daniel watched it vanish into the dark, knowing it would go straight back to the council with everything they'd seen. There would be no hiding now. Back in the meeting hall, the surviving leaders gathered again. Faces grim. They'll come back, the bearded man said. And next time they won't send scouts, they'll send fleets. Then we hit them first, Daniel said. The room went still. You want to use it, the engineer said, nodding toward the drives. Daniel met every gaze in the room. We've been running for decades, hiding, dying one colony at a time. This ends now. We take Helios. We make a strike they'll never forget, and we tell them if they come for us again, we erase them. The bearded man leaned back, eyes narrowing. And if we become the thing we hate, Daniel didn't look away. Then at least we become something they fear.